Good afternoon, everybody. Today I wanted to share with you what the market was doing. And usually I don't do these daily videos, but I figured I'll be really nice today and give you a freebie. Of course, people pay for this stuff, but it's okay. I'm feeling generous today. Let me take this opportunity to have a shameless pitch of my website for you. So visit me at TradeTheseStocks.com. I have a new website where I anticipate I will be posting my thoughts on a daily basis. So if you're out there following me on Twitter or all these other Twitter websites, whatever they're called, you might as well just bookmark me, and you'll have a much better perspective of what I'm doing as opposed to 130 something characters or less, right? So anyway, the reason why I wanted to share my website with you is because today I pretty much called the markets, and I don't want to flaunt too much, but there was one particular level that I kind of noticed the market was getting into, at least the spiders were, and it was a minor support, but then at some point I just said, well, okay, the market has just been so volatile. At some point there is a change where a minor support becomes sensitive enough for a bounce. So see what I'm saying? So at some point the volatility just dries up, and then any support, no matter how strong or weak, just becomes a good bounce candidate. And that is a good change of character in the market. So think about it. In the past couple of weeks, you could have come into a double bottom, you could have had a fib retracement, all these amazing support levels, and they were all taken out with conviction. So they were all taken out, and you would see a red bar after a red bar. So it was very vicious out there. And initially the market told us today that it was going to be the same thing all over again. Here we go, down again. But guess what happens when everybody thinks that? The market then starts bouncing on these weaker support levels. So what we're seeing is a little bit of a shift here, and we have to be on the lookout for those things. So when you're looking for the market to change direction, you have to be a little bit like a detective. So you have to put all the different pieces together and put together a story in terms of what it's doing. So today we saw a little bit of a change, and there was a minor support level that just was used for the market to bounce off of it, and that is very positive for the market. Now let me talk about what I'm let me show you what I'm trying to talk about. So if you look at the spiders, right, and let's go into the 10-minute intraday chart. Okay, let me do this. So the 10-minute intraday, what I notice is that there was a little bit of a support level right here. Now it's a weak support level, it's not a strong support level, but I figured, okay, there's a weak support level and the market is probably gonna bounce off of it. You know, if you followed me, that I posted this, so there's no secret about that. There's even a video of it out there. But what I was thinking, my reasoning was that there's a little bit of a trend line right here. So if you take this pivot and this pivot right here, which is very significant based on the volume. This is our last 10-minute candle on Friday where everybody was panicking, right? So that is a very significant pivot. So if you take those two pivots and draw a trend line, you essentially could have predicted that there was support that the market was coming into. Now essentially the market came a little bit lower, and again the reason for that was because the stochastics weren't ready. So finally, when the stochastics were ready to become bullish, look at this vertical move we had in the markets. Now initially I had, in that first video, I had the initial target set as 203.50, okay, 203.50, and the reason being is that I have this calculated area, which is this blue arrow that I'm moving around. but it would have to go from that pivot point. And at that time when I was posting the video, the pivot was right here, so that would have taken us to 203.50. Now because we went a little bit lower, I have to shift that arrow, that line, and now we are taken to the 203 even number. So 203, pencil that in, it is some resistance. If the market can go up a little bit higher, it will prove to be resistance. Now, the market doesn't have to go up very much. If it stays at these levels tomorrow, that's only $1 up, right? So it might get there very soon. Now let's look at today. What happened today? So today we pretty much rallied into the rest of the day. Very positive. Initially the market wanted to sell, but then it decided that it doesn't want to do that. So we had a turnaround, which we haven't seen in a while. So today was a very good behavior in terms of that. If you're looking for a bullish reversal, here is another piece to add to the puzzle. So if I look at this particular chart, and let me increase the time frame. So not sure why it says Z, but if I look at the spiders on the larger time frame, what you will notice is that we are finally putting in a higher low. And this is, you can even argue, a little bit of a bullish consolidation pattern. Now the question is, are we going to go up higher, or is this it? Based on this move right here, so if you take this candle and project how high it can go, we have already hit the max move. And if you look at this here, these levels right here, you now know that we're into a triple top. So there's two reasons that are telling me that the market wants to reverse. So there's some resistance, but at the same time the stochastics and the MACD are turning around, so it might be short-lived. So if I go back to my 10-minute and show you what I'm talking about, so here you have this sort of Z pattern right here. So if you were to just project a symmetrical move, because that's what the market likes to do, so if you were to just calculate this move, initial move right here, and superimpose it on today's late afternoon move, guess what? We are right smack on that resistance, that max move right here. And in addition to that, as I said, we have a little bit of a triple top right here. So definitely some resistance coming into the market, but very impressive nonetheless. So keep in mind, triple top and this extended move, some resistance, but again, longer term, I think the stochastics and the MACD are showing us the market wants to turn around. When? I'm not sure. We might have a little bit more downside, but ultimately this is becoming bullish. So that is your initial resistance, that 202 level, and then after that the 203 level. Now if I look at the pattern on a wider time scale, you will notice that we also now have what you could describe as an inverse head and shoulders on the spiders. So if you were to draw this shoulder, head, right shoulder, and you will notice that we have essentially an inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? So the question now is, where is the market headed to afterwards? And again, I love symmetry, and that's what I use in my technical analysis. So if we look at how far we've gone down, and again, we don't know exactly where, because the market might trade sideways, but notice how there's that red trend line right here. So depending on where the market goes, so it might base a little bit and then move up, it might go down and come back up, but either way it appears that this red trend line might put us in some sort of near-term resistance. And who knows, maybe then we start trading in another channel. So we don't know yet. But what I'm seeing is that, again, some more resistance. So be careful. So you got the 202 level, 203 level, and now you got the 204 level, and at this point you have new pivot points. So there's a lot of patterns emerging here, and it seems that every dollar we go up, there's going to be some resistance. 202, 203, 204, and then ultimately once we break that, there might be some more upside, because I think the market will go above that. I think that it probably will take out the high by a little bit, so we might be trading in the 208, maybe even 210 or 211 range, who knows. But let's take it one day at a time. These are just speculations. But for now, these are the levels that I'm seeing, so keep in mind inverse head and shoulders. We also had that bullish consolidation, so a lot of resistance coming up very soon. So the market, if it's going to go up higher, it has to do so on with a lot of conviction. So we need to see more volume, we need to see more buyers come in, we need to see the VIX coming down. So we need to see all these different things going on to break above all those levels. But nonetheless, keep in mind 202, 203, 204, and we're getting very near. And then once we clear the 204 level, 205-ish, then maybe the market will then go up a little bit higher. So keep that in mind. And I didn't have time to look at anything else. I know some of you have been asking me about gold. Gold hasn't hit our entry level yet. But again, if we see downside, by all means, that trade is still on the table. So keep the levels that I posted, and we will take it one day at a time.